Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you who are seasoned veterans. And what we do around here is we bring about conversations on a variety of topics: social, psychological, emotional, and coaching related. We try to do that as often as we can. We try to do that for your benefit and bring about resolutions to challenges you may be having. Please subscribe, like, comment below, all that good stuff. It would really help the channel. Also, if you are looking for a coach to kind of help with communication skills, which is one of the many things that I have experience in, would love to be able to help you in that way. But one of the best ways to do that is to reach out through Twitter at PO Perception, or you can also reach out in the direction of right here on YouTube, the About Me section of the YouTube page, a great way to begin to get clarity. Anyway, today we're going to talk about things not to say to people that are struggling with mental illness. There's a belief system that says over half of the Western culture has one form of mental illness or another, or will throughout their lifetime. So the chances that you know someone that struggles with mental instability is actually very high. And the more we begin to give grace and peace and serenity to those types of situations and those types of people, the easier it becomes to deal with that on a deeper level. What that means in the end for lots of people is understanding in a new way how to communicate in a peaceable way while being honest but respectful of someone who might be struggling. There's lots of things not to say. The first thing is you're not trying. You're not trying hard enough to fix your anxiety. You're not trying hard enough to fix your depression. You don't know how hard they're trying because you're not in their head. So when you say they're not trying, you're making a whole bunch of assumptions which honestly make you look very uncaring, for one. Manipulative, for two, because if you really cared about them as a person, you'd say, hey, how can I make this easier for you? How can I help you to try to be more accountable to yourself better? What can I do to make life better for you? Now, the problem becomes a lot of people don't want to do that because it takes a certain level of emotional investment that sometimes people don't want to do because it hasn't led you to where you want to be. So then the next one is in this line, and there's about 8 or 9 of them I want to cover, but the next one is snap out of it. As if one could just turn off their illness or their struggle or the thing that they're dealing with. As if they are able to kind of dial in. Well, I'll have an emotional episode at 3:13 a.m. on the Friday, the 4th of April, and it'll last until 3:59 a.m., and then I'll schedule my next one for the following Sunday. It doesn't work that way. And so telling someone to snap out of it is to ultimately mitigate and downplay the struggle they're going through and the amount of control they have through an episode. The next is that they're doing it for attention. While that may be factually true in some cases, the majority of people that struggle with mental and emotional illnesses try to hide these challenges because of the stigma associated with the illnesses themselves. And so while there is a certain segment of the population where it may be factually accurate to say that they're trying to manipulate or using things as a way to get attention, it's much more accurate to say that the majority of people try to hide their true selves and pretend they don't have challenges and issues so as to be more acceptable within society. The next is, I'll kind of group these together. People have it worse, and these type of things happen to everyone. Now, people have it worse is probably, again, a factually accurate statement. However, the comparison to how a person interprets the information and stimulus that's going on with them and the struggles that they may have day to day and week to week and month to month is going to be different for every individual. So just because the belief is they may have it worse or someone else may have it worse doesn't necessarily mean that the factual truth is that the person, in fact, is able to cope with it in a way that someone who might not have it as bad or someone else who might have it, quote, worse, does. Each person goes through their emotional challenges differently. Each person has a different set of skills and coping mechanisms. And so the ability of individuals to cope with things in a different way ultimately has a lot to do with where they end up in the process. The next thing to look at is the reality of kind of looking at choosing our words more carefully when we say you have such a great life or you're overreacting. So, you're overreacting. In comparison to what? In comparison generally to how you think you would react to the person in that situation. However, just because you think you would react one way doesn't actually mean that if rubber hit road you would. And the other thing is, having not been in the situation, you don't have the knowledge to 100% know how you would react. Unless you've physically been there, you don't know what your coping mechanisms would be in the situation, how you may look at things from a different or new perspective. The concept that challenges happen to everyone also implies that everyone reacts the same way. The idea of telling someone not to overreact or that they have a great life. Great is again comparative. Great in comparison to what? Great in comparison to someone who is on death's doorstep? Maybe. But at the same time, the person who's going through the struggle can't see that. And what they think is great and what another person thinks is great and what the person down the street thinks is great is all different points of attraction and different points of mindset. So one person's great could be another person's awful, and it's all relative. The next is telling someone not to react that way and not to feel that way and to stop their emotional outburst as if they have complete control. Most people have their outbursts for a reason, and that's because the emotional core of regulation and the ability to emotionally regulate is less than the average person wants to deal with or is capable of dealing with at any given time. Furthermore, that individual is struggling in a number of ways, thereby creating the difficulty in the first place. So it's just important to be mindful and careful with how we speak to people. All things can be kind of re-regulated, but being gentle is important when dealing with someone that may have mental or emotional challenges. In any event, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.